Hey guys, it's Sufani at Sufani's World, and I just wanted to come back and say hi and do a Thursday thriller. Unfortunately, last week I did not do a Thursday thriller, so I just wanted to say sorry about that. But I am back here to continue my story of the haunting of Bainbridge, the house on Bainbridge Street. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit the like button and the bell so that you get notifications. Oops, here comes my puppies and hopefully they don't knock over my equipment. Say hi, baby. Come over here, Sakara. She's like, how do I get in? Here's my other baby. Oh, the babies. Okay, so before I go further, I want to say that I want to tell you an update, actually. I just was remembering what I need to say here. The update on the haunted crystal. So I put it on eBay and I put the story of the crystal. And I also put the link on eBay to the Thursday Thriller video or Thriller Thursday video that I did where I was talking about it. I hope you don't hear my dog. She's like right in front of the mic. um, so anyway, I put the link there so that people could see and hear the story of the crystal, and it was on there for about 10 days. I do 5 day, what do you call those, auctions, and the second auction, I actually sold it to somebody, and so I want to give a shout out to Joe. Forget what his last name is, but he owns an investigation company in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm just saying this based on what he put in his message of his company name. Although I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it. So he said his company name is called Sinisterzig, Z-I-G, Sinisterzig, one word, next word, G-H-O, so Sinisterzig Gho LLC in Phoenix, Arizona, and his name is Joe. So Joe, if you're listening, thank you for taking that crystal off my hands. And I look forward to hearing whatever you get out of that. When I had to ship it out, I was concerned even about bringing it back into the house because I had to pack it up, of course, and make sure that it has safe travels. But I really did not like the idea of it coming back into the house. So I basically put up, a binding around it to keep it from coming into the house. And when I shipped it or packed it up, I also packed it up with a binding inside the cloth, and I bound it 7 times to keep it in there. And then I also did a binding on the box to prevent it from coming out. Oh, my dogs are crowding in here. Can you see these little you guys? They're not gonna leave me alone. But anyway, yeah, I the binding worked because even while it was sitting in here while I was waiting for them to pick it up, I only put it out right before I know the mailman's coming, and the binding worked. And so whatever was in that crystal was going to stay in that crystal until it reached its destination and was unbound by its new owner. So Joe, if you're listening, please like and subscribe, and please, either leave a message in the comments about what happened with that crystal, or you can reach out to me on eBay and I will do another Thriller Thursday and tell your side of the story and what you did with the crystal and what you found once it was in your possession. So I do hope that you message me back so that we all can get a continuation of what happened next. So that's fun. So stay tuned for future crystal information or stories, haunted stories. Okay, so moving on, the haunting of Bainbridge Street. So you already heard me tell you that the house was basically, looking back on it, I just feel like that house had some kind of negative energy around it. And I don't know anything about that house. I was young and, I didn't I didn't ask any questions. I was too busy keeping up with all the stuff that was occurring, and how I was feeling in that house. And Celia, please stop. And I was having a lot of, I guess, not even awakenings. Maybe it's an awakening, I guess. I mean, I was having these experiences of spirit, and also like just illegal kind of criminal things happening around this house. And so it was all happening at the same time. So I feel like I was always kind of surviving something or trying to figure out what was going on with me, and also, feeling kind of threatened by the house. It was just a weird thing. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever felt that way. If you guys grew up in a house that you just had some experiences with, but I would love to hear if any of you had any experiences in your homes growing up, or any stories where you felt kind of scared or traumatized in your home, and or just had these awakenings of spirit, and kind of these sixth sense that you didn't really understand at the time. If you've had any of those, share those with me in the comments. I would love to read those and see how other people processed those things when they were young and didn't really understand what was happening. Um, but it was just a scary, scary thing. So in the last episode, I told you about um, how I ended up, realizing that we had a peeping Tom, and I ran up on one when I knocked. If you didn't hear that one, go back to the Haunting of Bainbridge Street 1, and you'll hear that story. And that there was constantly, it seemed like, people around the house looking in, and it just was a very scary thing. As a young girl, just feeling threatened all the time in your own home, like, it just was weird. Ooh, it's pouring rain outside. I wonder if you could hear it. Finally, it got really dark. I like the rain, and I like it when it's dark and when you can hear it. It was windy too, so I hope it starts kind of howling. But anyway, um, yeah, so it was just a scary house to be in. And the house itself was cute. It was like a nice, quaint, uh, four bedroom house. It was a pretty little house, but it just had this energy, especially at nighttime, where it just didn't feel safe. And then, I already had all that stuff happen to me, and my sisters in that house. I've never really talked to them about how they experienced it, but maybe they'll talk to me after this. When they watch this video, maybe they'll respond and I can share that too. But the next thing that was really scary is that, one day my sister and I were home, and my mom had gotten a divorce from the husband that was there. She had my sister, who then was my half sister because she had a different dad. And she was the little one. And so, my mom ended up at a certain point, having a new boyfriend, and he lived like 45 minutes away. And so she was dating him, and she had kind of a pattern of when she would go and stay overnight with him. And because she had many girls of varying ages, and two of them, older than me, were, of sufficient age to be able to babysit and stuff like that, she would leave on a pattern I don't know if it was every Friday and stay, like she would leave Friday night, or Saturday and stay until Sunday or something like that. I don't remember what day it was, but there was a pattern. And she did this every week. And so in essence, what that means is that she left us alone. And so we were in this house in West Covina that already had, like, peeping toms, and we were living in an area it was nice, but there was also gang activity there. We were in West Covina, so, it was nice, but there was still dangerous. It was still dangerous at night for sure. And so I remember my older sister wasn't there, and it was me and my sister that's just right above me. I don't want to say her name on tape. But her and I were in our living room, or, well, yeah, it was our living room. And it was that room where I saw somebody up high kind of looking and then their head went down. So freaky. But we were laying in there and the couches were like this. So this room was like right to the back of the house, right? So the backyard was right there where the living room was. And there was all kinds of windows. So the couch is like this, in like this L shape. And then there's all these windows here and around the side, and that big window up at the top. It was actually a smaller window, but it was up high. It was a weird high window. I don't know why they put it like that. And we had like a lot of cats. We had a cat named Puppy, and she was like she was an outdoor cat actually, but we would let her in sometimes. But she was mostly our outdoor cat that we fed, and then she had babies, and then there would be cat fights sometimes if other cats would try and come in. And so we'd often hear noises in the backyard. And I remember that particular night we were watching TV, and so it's like this, right? And here's my sister and I were like laying on the couch watching TV, and both of our heads were like towards the center, right? And we kept hearing some noises outside, and we didn't think anything of it. I think both of us just thought that it was the cats, prowling around and making noise. Well, we should have paid attention to that, because what ended up happening was we were just laying there watching TV, and all of a sudden we heard a male voice in the room behind us saying, "All right, you guys, let's go." And I just remember, here we are, both of our heads are, facing each other like crown to crown on the couch, right? Not on this, like laying next to each other, but on separate couches, but facing that way. And I remember both of us just looking up and seeing a guy with a nylon over his face and a hoodie, and his hands in his hoodie. And I remember he said that he had a gun, although he didn't pull it out, but I did see that his hoodie was like, it was a thinner hoodie, and it was like weighted down. So I believed him. And it was just weird when something like that happens, what you think you would do, like if you read your personality, oh, this personality, this is how they're going to react. You always react the opposite. So if you're like super loud and obnoxious, normally the life of the party, you're going to be silent. And the silent one is usually the one that's going to give the trouble or say something. And that's exactly what happened. My sister was more of the silent one, and she was the one that was giving him mouth, like the mouth, saying our parents are going to be home. And it just was really, it was like you have this out of body experience that you can't believe that this is happening to you. And so basically we were forced to get up. And he said, he had both of us by the wrist, and he was, going to take us to the bedroom. I think he said the back bedroom, but he ended up taking us to the first bedroom on the left, which was my mom's room. And I remember right when we walked out of the living room and we walked past the dining room, and then there's a point where to go to the hallway, you walk past that front door. And see, our thing was we left everything open. People just think they're safe, and they're not. Our back door was left open, and our front door, had a screen, and that was open. So, I mean, anyone could have come in at any time. It was stupid to think that we were safe at any time, because we just didn't have any safety precautions. It was just stupid to think that you're safe like that. So anyway, I just remember that split second in my thought. My sister was giving him so much trouble, and I was on the left side closest to the door. And I just remember that I had a split second to decide whether or not I was going to break free from him and run for the door. And I remember that it's just happened so fast that I chose not to do it, because he may have panicked. and I didn't know what he would do to her, so I chose, and it's weird that you could choose something that just seconds. I guess it's that instinct, right? That it just, everything seems like time seems to slow down, but you're making these instinct like judgments really fast. And I just remember that running through my head, and I decided to stay. So he takes us into the back to the room, my mom's room on the first left, and he takes us. She had a master bathroom, so he takes us in there, and then he takes us to the bathroom, which has a window that faces the front of the house, literally right by the front door, which was an interesting choice. Okay, he ties us up. Behind our backs, and here was his other mistake, is that he tied us up with my mom's nylons from her drawer right above the jewelry, and he tied us up with nylons, which obviously stretches. So he ties us up, and I just remember my sister giving him hell, like, my parents are going to be home, and they're going to catch you and stuff. And I'm just, part of me is like, is this really happening? And the other part is like, wow, like my sister is like, she's raising hell, but I didn't know whether or not that was smart or not. But I'm just taking all of this in. It was just interesting situation to be in. And so literally, like, he goes out, and I think he was going out to kind of rob the joint. I don't know what was in his head. I don't remember whether or not he got my mom's jewelry or not, but something in me tells me he didn't. I'm having a memory that, like, it was really stupid, because there was like an old-fashioned jewelry box that had a lot of old jewelry in it, and right below was one drawer that you pull out, and that's where her unmentionables were. She had like a little sachet that had like her knee-high nylons and all her different nylons and scarves. And he clearly went in there to get something to bind our hands with, and then he left the jewelry box there, which I think personally that it was his first time doing that, and he was freaked out too. But it was kind of crazy. So the minute that he walked out of the door, and he was in the hallway, my sister was like, she was already like pretty much out of her nylon binding, and I had my binding, but I climbed up onto the window, and I kind of punched the screen out, and I was kind of hanging there, and then my mom actually pulled up in the driveway, and that's when my sister ran out. So here's the interesting thing about this, is that my mom normally would leave on that night, and criminals watch patterns when they're planning on doing a break-in. They watch people's patterns to see when they're going to be gone, and that's when they tend to go in, or the adult is going to be gone, right? The person that they're going to have the challenge with, right? So clearly this person had been watching our house and knew that that was the time that the parental figure left, and he didn't feel like he was going to have any trouble with the young kids. Who knows what he planned on doing? But that day, my little sister had gotten sick. And so my mom decided she was not going to go, obviously, and she took my little sister out to the liquor store to get something, I think an ice cream or something like that, to make her feel better. And so she drove out, and in the time that it took her to drive out and do that errand is when he came in, tied us up, and was about to rob the place. And right when he went through all that, she pulled up into the driveway. I was halfway hanging out the window from my stomach, yelling to my mom, like, I don't even know what I was saying, but obviously when you see your kid hanging out of a window, terrified, she knew something bad happened. And then my sister, I mean, she practically ran out right behind him, like giving him a flat tire. I mean, she ran out, and she ran out that front door. And so here my sister's screaming, I'm screaming something. My mom's like, oh my God, what happened? The police were called. I also remember too that my dad was on his way to come pick us up. That because we would go to my dad's every other weekend. And I remember my dad beating himself up saying, because I think he was running late that day, and he had said if he had he been there, sooner, this wouldn't have happened. But it wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? Like, this was something that was meant to be part of my life. And I remember being just, I grew up being very cautious after that. Like, after that, everything was locked. I still do it. I watch my back. I look around. I took self-defense. I've read, Black Seals and ways to defend yourself, if you have to, in survival. I mean, but I did that in a way that I didn't live fearful. I empowered myself with that experience. And so I wonder if any of you guys have gone through the same thing. I even trained my children how to be really self-aware and aware of their surroundings and to never take their safety for granted. To lock doors and windows and just always know that, if you don't lock your doors, you're subject to somebody just coming into your house and you don't know what they'll do. We don't know what could have happened. And, it was a pretty scary thing and it really did impact my life. But, that house was just something else, and I was really happy to get away from it. I always felt so unsafe, so and I had other spirit, experiences. Maybe I can do next week's where I tell you the story of the spirits that visited me. And so I think that would probably be the last one. I don't want to tell you right now because we're already at like 21 minutes and stuff, but anyway, I will do one more on the haunting at Bainbridge Street, and that one will just be to tell you kind of the spiritual awakening, I guess we'll call it, that I had there, where I realized that I could see spirits, and and I never forgot that. So I'll share that with you next time. So hopefully you guys liked this this Thriller Thursday video. Sorry I missed last week, but hopefully I made up for it this week. And if you haven't seen the other ones, please go back and watch my Thursday Thrillers, or I always say it backwards, my Thriller Thursday videos. Share them on your pages and social media. I'm trying to build my community. We're almost at 50, so if you liked this story, please help me grow my community by subscribing to my channel, liking and hitting the bell. It means a lot to me, and I love having this little community to talk to you guys. And I would love to hear some of your stories or your feedback about the story and what you heard. Also, the if anyone wants to share, any stories of, basically that was violence that we experienced, as kids in our home. We got lucky that it didn't go to that level of actually physically being hurt, but that was a violent act because we were taken hostage, and that scars you. So if any of you guys have experiences of being scarred like that, I would love it if you commented and start a dialogue, to talk about stuff like that. So anyway, take care. I hope you like this video. I will talk to you guys soon, and I will definitely see you next Thursday on Thursday Thriller. See you later. Bye.